And that's my favorite thing about doing it is I make content and people come up to me and they're like, oh, what you did for us was so great. Or they'll come up to me 2 or 3 years later, like, oh yeah, you guys are our AA production team. And we just love all the work you've done. And that just, it makes it more satisfying for me. It's just, I really like that word of mouth. And there's nothing better for me, to have create something and people just really like it and get joy out of it. Even
Welcome to the New World Podcast, where we delve into the ever changing and accelerating pace of global change and its impact on our lives. I'm your host, John Paul Flores, broadcasting live from the New World Studio. Today, we're diving into the world of AI and automation. As an enthusiast and expert in lead generation, I will guide you through understanding and leveraging these technologies for your business and for your personal use. And don't forget, AI and automation might be unstoppable forces, but that doesn't mean you are powerless. Tune in to learn how to make them work for you and not the other way around. But first, let's meet our guest.
all right.
Welcome to the New World Podcast, where we navigate the changing world around us. I'm your host, John Paul Flores, specializing in lead generation and AI automation, here to help you understand how our world is changing and what it means for you. Today, we have a special guest joining us, someone with an incredible, diverse, and dynamic career and unique. And from the fast-paced world of NASCAR, he was a fabricator and also was a racer. He is now the owner, producer, director, and cinematographer at Bod High Productions. He brought innovative and high-quality video content to top companies and local businesses alike. His journey from race car driver to filmmaker showcases a unique blend of technical precision and creative storytelling. Please welcome Jeremy Duckworth.
Hello, John. Nice to be here. I'm actually looking forward to talking about some of this stuff. So
Amazing. Before we start, I just want to say that your experiences and your occupations are truly commendable. Most of the guests I have had the pleasure to speak with never dreamt or even expected to end up in their industries, just because you don't necessarily dream to be, when you were a child, you never dreamed to be a salesperson or a marketer or a leadership coach. But what you've done is amazing, because I know a lot of kids or even adults right now who wants to be a race car driver or be in the part of, fabricating them. And a lot of kids also want to be in the entertainment industry. You have been an actor, producers, director, cinematographer. Jeremy, you've done it all.
but I still feel like there's more to do. Yes, thank you. I stay pretty
By the
busy.
way, it's amazing. By the way, I watched some of your ads and I actually had a pleasure, and I was laughing the whole time when I watched your Jeremy Duckworth acting reel. Amazing, the Bank of Oklahoma. Don't try to deposit your dog.
Thank you. Yeah, that was actually that was a fun one to shoot. I enjoyed that one too. I like comedy. Comedy is really my forte and kind of where everything comes from, I guess, for me. I always see things as funny.
And yeah, I noticed that most of your acting is more on the comedic side.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And that's I don't know. Comedy is one of those things you can't really learn. I think you're either a comedian or you're not. You're either very serious or you see serious things funny. And if you see serious things funny and you could always make light of it, you're a comedian. And
Do you also still do stand up?
I have not done any stand up in a while, but I have been actually thinking about it. And I've actually been putting some notes together, put some, a little bit of material together, but I have not actually got back up on stage. And I'm not 100% sure I will, but a lot of these ideas are coming to me. I just went ahead and start putting them down because I never know when I'm going to use them. So I would say I probably will at some point.
What's the experience like doing that? Is it scary or at least nerve-wracking?
Yes, it is all those things. Stand up, I never wanted to do stand up. I never set out to do stand up. I was actually in an improv group in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and some of the stand-up comedians were in there, and we were learning improv. So it was actually, I performed with them, and they're the ones that told me, like, you have to get up on stage. They're the ones that talked me into it. So they talked me into it finally. So I got up there on an open mic, and people seemed to like, the set, and all my friends and some of the other comedians, they liked it too. They're like, you got to come back. And I actually had a really good group of comedians there that I could work material with. And we kind of worked together, and actually did shows with them. We did some small little tours around Myrtle Beach in that area, South Carolina, that, they asked me like, hey, we're doing a show over here. We're looking for you to come, So I would do, some of the, the opening acts and stuff like that, or opening sets. So, but you're out there by yourself. When you have a good crowd and everything's good, it's awesome. When you don't have a good crowd and it's just crickets, you have to make it awesome for yourself. That's when you just laugh at yourself. Like, yeah, this is, you can't take it
Do you
too
see
seriously.
different kind of locations attract different kind of
Oh,
crowds?
yes, definitely. So this is one of the things. So I moved from Myrtle Beach to Northwest Arkansas back in 2011. I was doing stand-up, out there in South Carolina, and I really wanted to continue doing stand-up. So when I moved here, I found a group, Comedians NWA. At first I was like, I don't think that's the group for me, but Northwest Arkansas is different than NWA. Back in the day, Dr. Dre and everything. So, but it's the group. What I had a problem here was, it was, they have a huge college here, the U of A, University of Arkansas, and where we were performing was right down Dixon Street, where all the college students went. So you had one crowd, college students, and
Oh,
that just really pushes your material, down. And so it's hard to work material and to keep, the comedies going if you can't get outside of that. And at that time, I just moved here, and I just didn't I did some shows, and then some of my friends came back. They were actually touring the country, and I did a show with them in Springfield, Missouri, which is actually my hometown. So I did one show there, and I think that was the last show I did. But I just haven't, just because of that reason and the way the audiences, like I said, you need those different sets of audiences, and you need to know how to write your set and deliver your set, for those audiences. But yes, that's one reason why I stepped out of it.
and do you think, college students, they're different generations from you?
Oh,
Do you see that as a huge wall that you need to climb up?
yeah, exactly. And it's kind of one thing I learned the hard way in comedy is you have to write material that's relevant to yourself. You can't write material that's relevant to a college student and try to deliver it, unless it's, something for me. But I just, it was just really hard for me to find that material. I just didn't have enough of it. I don't think my college career was, I never went to, a straight college, for 4 years. I did a year here in OTC. I went in North Carolina. I just studied acting, and I studied business another year. And that's, I just took I just went in there, took a class that I wanted, and that was it. So my college, what I related to at college and what their experience is just not the same. So, but
Yeah, and it makes sense. And if you try to write a material that's funny to them, you won't be able to deliver it in a way that you find it funny for yourself as well, because it's not just yours.
very true. Yeah, exactly. That's and the experience. That's right. It's not just your experience when you're up there. It's you have the audience and you have to have both working together. And if you don't have that, it's excruciating. I've been there. I've learned that lesson the hard way.
That's amazing. And before we continue on the in-depth questions, because I do have some, can you share with us who Jeremy Duckworth is? What's your expertise, your experience, and what keeps you busy these days?
So what keeps me busy these days? I'm a father, got two kids. The one's 14, my other one's 11. They're both into everything. And also we run a company. So my wife and I are joint business partners at this point, and we do a lot of production um, and TV shows. So right now we were just busy shooting and editing, and she's also helps her sister with her business. So she's kind of going in between two right now. But between all that and with the kids, it's I'm busy for sure.
By the way, I saw that there's a lot of new softwares in terms of video editing. Do you use some of them?
I do. So like what I will say, mostly the software I use is the same. It's the same Final Cut Pro, which nobody really uses anymore, but I still do because it's fast sometimes. But Premiere Pro, Adobe stuff, and DaVinci Resolve. Those seem, the DaVinci and Adobe are probably the two biggest ones right now that everybody edits on. And there's a lot of different stuff like AI that's come in to Adobe, and also DaVinci and all this stuff. So I'm just kind of still learning some of that stuff. But what I've seen so far, I like. It just kind of speeds up the production process. It just gives you more creative tools to me.
Have you used a lot of those AI features that they're adding?
Not to the. I'm like I said, I'm still learning them. Some of them, like even I'm trying to think, like even like the voice isolation stuff, from what it was 5 years ago, is just phenomenal. And you can just like hit a button, and it can just find it and just put it. It's done. It's like, wow, that's great. Because it used to take me a little while to go in there, find the sound, or try to isolate it myself, and just try to get rid of it, and without messing the audio up and making it sound like it was recorded in a cave somewhere. So like some of those audio stuff, yes, they're wonderful. We've used some of the Photoshop stuff as well, and it's also very, very good. You could crop stuff out of a photo. You could do a lot of things. Right now I think the AI is close. It's not quite perfect. Every time it does something, it's about 95% there, but it's amazing what it can do. It's not going to be long before it's going to be so much. To me, like being able to create the vision I have is more important, and to have a tool that I can just easily get that even quicker, or get a couple different options quicker. I love it. So
Yeah, I mean, the software that we're using for the recording, they're gonna clean the sound in like 5 minutes. Before it'll take 3 hours to clean those sounds up.
exactly.
Plus, you can also remove all the filler words. Yeah, it's amazing.
And that's some of the stuff. Like I haven't had any. I still like to be creative and have my hands on the edits and stuff like that. But using those, like to clean up the audio and all that stuff, that's just kind of to me busy work. It's amazing, and it does a great job. It does better than I could do a lot of times. So
Do you see it improving even more in the next 6 months?
the next 6 months, I think I definitely it's going to improve quickly. 6 months, I would say 2 years, we'll probably see another good leap. What I'm looking for next is the AI and the cameras and what it's going to be able to do. As far as just, it's already like made our crews so small, and made us so efficient. But I know the cameras, like the digital cameras already have gotten so good. I could pick up a camera that's on the market and just get great quality, great images out of it. But once we get the AI in there, and we could just really pinpoint and clean stuff up in camera, and like have them pull, we could say, I'm going to pull focus here and there, and, it just does it, and we could change it that fast. That's what I'm really looking forward to. It's just, like I said, it's here. It's just, I think it's already here. It just needs to come to market. So I'm
That's
expecting
amazing.
it. Yeah.
And you said you made your crew smaller, but was the quality still the same or even better with these new tools?
With the new tools, it's getting a lot better. I will say I kind of saw a lot of this going on when I when I formed Bod High Productions, but I'd say around 2014. Um, that's what I decided. I'm going to gear this business to be, very fast, very efficient, very small crews. So we can go in, we can turn, content quickly, and we can really get our vision into it, whatever that is. So I've really kind of worked on that and basically worked on just how I could combine a lot of this stuff in. And a lot of it is just because we don't have a crew available here. So I just had to, and also the funding here was so much different than it was on the coast. So that's, but I kind of saw it here and I saw what I could do with it. And when I kind of got into it, I was an actor and I've been on a lot of big productions, and I was just kind of like overwhelmed, like, how am I ever going to do this? But once I kind of started rolling and kind of seeing what was possible, I was just like, wow, I think we can really, do a lot with a little, especially with the digital cameras. It's
And yeah, and I think with a small crew rather than having a massive crew, you're easier to move around.
yes, easier to move, faster. It's kind of like you're cleaner. You don't have to bring as much stuff into a place. So it just opens up more opportunities and more creative decisions because it's before you have to really kind of it's money too. Like if you had a big crew, how much is this going to cost? When I can afford it out of my pocket and it doesn't cost me probably anything to go shoot, I can say that, let's shoot that. And somebody will give me an idea while we're there. Like, oh, somebody's getting ready. I'll say, let's go. We'll go in there, set up. We could shoot it. It's something that we didn't even have a shot list or even thinking about, but we can go get that before. There's no way because you would still be getting the shot before. You'd be going in there, and it just takes so long to set up and strike, and just get a couple of good takes that you're looking for. But now I just think it's so fast and so fluid, and we can change so quickly. I can change take to take to take.
And especially if you want to try and also serve local businesses, you can't necessarily have so large of a crew that one point is that they can't afford you, and
Mhm.
second is that it's very hard to shoot it because you're gonna have to bring all of this stuff.
Yes, and that's one thing here. When I moved here, as far as production goes, when I started Bod High Productions, there was one other production company here at that time. But even what they thought a commercial cost was this. I was like, wow, I don't know how anybody would shoot, a couple $100, but it just seemed like, it was just in their mind. I think they're a little bit behind of the industry itself. And so I was just forced to kind of, here's my budget. If I'm going to do this, this is what I got to work with. How am I going to make this work? And that's really what I kind of did. Not just make it work, but excel at it. Give them something that they're going to love, not like something that they, looks like it was shot for free or shot cheap. I want them when they, get their product to be like, yeah, this is great. Even if especially if it's a small business, small businesses don't have the budget. They don't have the time. They need the content to survive. So it's another way. For me, I feel like it makes the business easier, the transaction, because I don't feel, it's not like a sales. When I go in, if they spend money with me, I want them to have ROI on it. I want them to make money. If they can't make money on something I've made, I don't want to do it. It's just a waste of all of our times, So, but that's the thing. Like, even if it's a small budget, I still want to deliver something that they can use, for the business.
And do you see some of these small businesses where you've given them an amazing production for an affordable cost, and they go back to you a year, maybe 2 years in the future, and they tell you, hey, what you did was great. It gave us a lot of business.
Mhm.
Now, can you make us a better one with a higher budget?
Yes, we get a lot of that. And that's my favorite thing about doing it is I make content and people come up to me and they're like, oh, that's, what you did for us was so great. Or they'll come up to me 2 or 3 years later, like, oh yeah, you guys are our, our AA production team. And we just love all the work you've done. And that just, it makes it more satisfying. For me, it's just, I really like that word of mouth. And the thing is I don't look for work. I don't really market ourselves. We're bad at it, but I just feel like as long as people like my work and want it, then I try to find a way to get that to them. And that's satisfying for me. That's why I do it. And there's nothing better for me to have create something and people just really like it and get joy out of it, even if it's a commercial. So
That's amazing. And what you do, especially if you do it amazingly, they they become and creates a long-term relationship, and some of them actually, as you said, will bring other people in.
mm-hmm, absolutely, it's word of mouth. And a lot of times they'll be shooting somewhere, and they'll see what we did, and then they'll call us. Yeah, or they were at the company, they were at Tyson or somewhere, and they're like, yeah, we worked with you here or at the TV station when they saw my stuff, but they'd have us come into Tyson. We've had that situation and just other companies. But when people leave, or we get the referral, from one of our clients, and they're like, yeah, I saw, I talked to them and I saw your work, and we would love for you to come in and, do this project with us. So
Do you also do work for outside of Arkansas?
yeah, we do. We have it. I mean, actually, I will say right now, we have an international TV series in pre-production. So it's the first time I've shot anything or will shoot anything, overseas. So I'm really, really looking forward to kind of doing this. Like we've already got it funded. It's not going to be that, that bad to go over there and do what we need to do, but just the opportunity and the creativity to do something new like that is just super exciting. And out of state, yeah, we'll go wherever. So if it's somebody that likes our work and they want us to go somewhere, yeah, we'll do it.
That's amazing. And I thought when you said outside of the country, I thought you meant streaming the show on another country. But the fact that you're going to another place is amazing.
Yes, yeah, I agree. It's just such a different, I don't know, it's just a different experience, and it gives us so much different things to pull from, to create from, So I'm looking forward to just seeing what we could all kind of come together and create out, this. It's going to be a series. We're not 100% sure on how many episodes yet, but we're definitely going to Tuscany, and we've got one of my partners has already done a lot of the writing and stuff, and I just love what he's, his ideas and what he's got. And I just think we've got a really good group of artists together. And to kind of be able to throw those ideas around and build off them and just be like, wow, yes, this is, to kind of see that in pre-production and get, to be excited to go over there and actually see this stuff and kind of shoot something like that. Like I said, it's exciting for me. And, money's money. Maybe we'll make money, who knows? But it's to me just to have that experience and do the art over there. But it's going to be a good series. I mean, we'll make money on it. There's no doubt in my mind. But
is it gonna be? Are you gonna be both the director and the editor as well?
yeah, I share a lot of the editing. So my wife does a lot of the editing. She's an amazing artist, and she has an amazing skill. She's another one. Her background is shopper marketing, graphic design. But when she came on, she has this ability to basically shoot this documentary stuff where there's no story and just create this story that just weaves through it. It's just amazing. And every time it's like I'll edit some stuff and I'll kind of get a lot of the the clips together, the color, and she'll just come in there and just sit down. And sometimes I'll make an edit and she'll sit down and just you know, it can be an hour, 2 hours, and she'll just transform it into this different story, that something that I didn't even think about or see. And having that is just priceless. For the way we can kind of just share the work and work off each other, as and also be husband and wife. It really makes a huge difference.
And I think one of the best factors on that is while she's editing it, she already knows what you like.
Yes, yeah. She knows what I like, and I know what she likes, and she's not afraid to give me criticism. A lot of times I'll do stuff, and she'll say, well, even like I'll tell her something, she's like, "What?" And but I've learned when she says something or suggests something, I'm like, okay, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't see it, but okay, let's do it. And when it's done, she's usually right, or whatever her vision was worth it. So that made I can't even say how much of a, you know, an addition, or how much a part of everything we do is her as well. So I'm very lucky.
Awesome. And by the way, why did you move to Arkansas?
For my wife. So we were dating when we actually went to high school together in Springfield. It was a little while ago, but I was living in Myrtle Beach, and she just moved here back from Costa Rica. She was living over there for a little while, and so she just moved back, and we were kind of talking, and she came over, visited, and we just talked about. So, my family's 2 hours away. I have no family out there in the Carolinas. So it was just made more sense when she's like, would you want to move over here? Like, yeah, it makes way more sense than you moving out here. And so that's why I moved here, was because of her, and just wanted to, I wanted that relationship with her.
That's amazing. And I forgot to ask, on your series that you're going to another country, are you also gonna be an actor there?
I'm not planning on it. That's one thing I probably just going to direct, shoot. But will I end up in there? Probably. Yeah, probably will. Somewhere, I'm sure. Like, it's kind of like when you're shooting and we'll see something, and I'll just, those are the best times. And that's my improv too. Like, I'll say, oh, okay, who's going to do that? And I'll be like, that's me. I can hand my camera off to my wife, and she can get the shot, or, have that ability. So we do that a lot, actually. I don't know if you see it a lot of our commercials, but
yeah,
I'm throwing a lot of those too. But I'm sure you'll see me in a few scenes over there.
Yeah, I think the great thing is you don't need to find an extra. You are one.
Yep. Yep, exactly. That's kind of what I was like. We have such a small crew. I've just been able to, it wasn't by design, it's just more by fault. Like, I had to basically do so many things just to kind of, make a living and survive. But it really gave me that range, and it just gave us that flexibility. So yes, we can background, we can fill in stuff. There's a couple of commercials that I've had other people hire before that I actually, acted in, and, had all the dialogue. So, and we shot it. So, if I can't find an actor sometimes and I'm fit the role, then, it saves the client money, I'll do it too. So it just kind of depends, but yeah, I'm not, I'm not afraid to none of us are afraid to do anything to just make the show fun and good. And that's the main
Yeah, and it makes sense, especially because you have that experience and you already know what you want for that shoot. So you don't need to find somebody else that you might find in the street. Hey, can you be an extra to this? You need to do that. You need to act like this. You need to say this in this way. You already know it all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I already got the vision in my head for sure as a director. I know what I want, and it's a little harder kind of when you're. That's when I use, like, Michelle, my wife. She's great. She can direct me too. So I could, she knows what I want, and she can easily say, you know, don't do that again, or let's try this. And she's really good at getting that out of me, because it's hard. You really can't act and direct at the same time, even though it's really the kind of the same thing. But you're still like, you can't do a lot of those roles. That's why, as an actor, I rely on a director's eyes to see what I'm doing. But we're lucky we had that.
That's interesting. Why do you think you can both be the director and be an actor and be great at both?
So you can do both. So you can be an actor and director and do great job. But when you're doing a scene and you're acting, and one of my best acting coaches or teachers told me, the difference between acting and directing is when you're acting, you're directing one person, and that's usually the person in front of you. When you're directing multiple people at the same time. So that's kind of why I could see, I could see what I'm doing, in a way from my point of view, but I can't see the whole point of view from the scene itself, if that kind of makes sense. Because if I'm watching the scene as the audience, then I'm not doing my part. I feel like the audience, and I'm pretty sure I learned this from Lon as well. The audience bought the ticket. They're in the seat. They get a watch. I don't get a watch. If I'm watching, I'm not in the role. I'm not in that part. So can it be done? Yes. Should it be done? In my opinion, no. And if I'm acting and if I'm in that character, that's me, whether it is or not. But as far as where I'm standing, that's me. And I'm not a director of that film or that thing at that moment. If that kind of makes sense.
So basically, you need to be so immersed or in character with your role to the point that you should not be looking at a wider perspective. You're just you. You're just doing this. You don't care about anything else, and you should not be caring about anything else at all.
Yes, yeah. Because all my intention in the scene is, in that scene, whatever that is, that's where everything is for me. I'm not. It's kind of like reading off a script, like auditioning. It's the same thing. I don't really feel like you can read off a piece of paper and script and really portray that character truthfully.
Hey there, thank you for listening on the New World Podcast. If you're enjoying the way I ask questions and insights we're uncovering here on the New World Podcast, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. By subscribing, you'll never miss an episode. And hey, if you're ready to learn more about lead generation and automation, which are the two of my expertise, I offer coaching services tailored to your needs. Plus, for a select number of people every month, the consultations are free for the first time. So, hey, if you're ready, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'll have it here. And also, let's work together to unlock your full potential. And let's get back to the show. Hey there, thank you for...
Because you're doing two things at one time. And it's just like in life, when you're doing something or you're in an argument, or let's say when you're in love with somebody, they show up, you're not looking at everything going around while you're talking to this person and, I'm doing all this stuff. You're focused on them, and all that is just coming out, especially if it's an argument or whatever that is. So to have those, those intimate scenes like that, I don't think you can. I think you really got to be the character, and you can't act it. You never want to act. You always have to be. It's truth. So if you're acting, yes, you can do it. But if you're doing the role the way I would think it should be done, no acting, no directing. You're just that character. And it makes it easier.
That's amazing. And let's go back. By the way, I saw one of your commercials where you actually was riding your bike, and you also did some drifting there, which is amazing. I was scared. I thought you were gonna fall down or something, and it's gonna be an ad for an insurance or something.
Yeah. Well, I raced mountain bikes too. So I raced BMX bikes growing up as
Ooh.
well. And just not too long ago when I moved to Northwest Arkansas, there's a lot of cycling. And so I got back on a bike and I loved it. So I started racing mountain bikes again. Um, but I've got yeah, I grew up on a bicycle too. So um, yeah, that kind of stuff. And actually, how I got into acting is kind of a story as well. Um, because I got into, I mean, what got me started is when I worked in NASCAR. In 2002, Budweiser came in. They did a commercial for the Daytona 500 with Dale Earnhardt Jr. So the 8 car. And I was working on the 8 car. And they came in and they said, hey, they saw me doing some stuff. They're like, we were like to use in this commercial. I'm like, so that's fine. I had no idea what that meant. And I've never seen a film crew or anything. This is a pretty good size crew that came in for as a national commercial. So that's kind of what got my, foot in there and got me exposed to it. And then a couple other things I did that NASCAR IMAX movie. I shot some stuff with that. But like I said, I had no idea about act. I didn't even know what that meant. I was, I grew up, both my parents were in the Army. My mom was like, starving artist. That's all I remember. So I did it, didn't even know what it meant. So, but when I was, in NASCAR, and when I walked out of NASCAR in 06, I'm like, what am I going to do? So I went to an open call, because my stepdaughter at the time was doing some modeling. So I got she was at an agency, and so I kind of saw some stuff, but I ended up going and auditioning. I got a role in Leatherheads that ended up getting cut out, but it didn't matter. Like, I got to go on set. I got to work with George Clooney, just be on
Ooh.
set with George Clooney one night for like 16 hours. And just watching him, he was acting and directing that. And I was just like, wow, how, and then I realized at the time, like, this is just work. Like racing was, it's just, you go in there, you put it out there, you see what worked, didn't work, you come back, you redo it. And I'm like, well, this seems pretty normal for me. And but my whole thing when I started acting, I'm like, after I thought I could get some work as an actor because of my past, my race car driving, my some skills on the bike, and I also was a martial artist. So
Ooh.
I figured some of that could probably do some stunt work. I'd probably at least get hired, maybe do some work. So that's what got me started in acting. So I went and I started taking some acting classes, and I went to CPCC and I took some classes. And that's when I went and took the classes, everybody was just like, when I did a scene, they were just like, just drawn in. And I'm like, it was just weird to me. And then the teacher's just like, she's like, I really want you to go to the film actor studio and study with Lon. And then everyone in the class kind of said the same thing. So that's kind of what got me into acting right then. And but the funny thing is I never got hired to do any NASCAR commercials, any stunt driving, nothing like that. What I started out to do, or what I thought, I just got hired because of my acting, which I didn't know as an actor.
What I see is you love anything that is high adrenaline, high emotion. I mean, just looking at your background, you like doing stand up, which is scary. And
Mm-hmm.
I know 95% of the people watching this will not like doing stand up because of how scary it is.
Mm-hmm.
And you also want or have an experience in martial arts. You also race cars and bikes. I mean, if that doesn't say you love adrenaline, I don't know what is.
Yeah, everyone tells me I'm an adrenaline junkie, and I don't really know what that means, but I guess it's not normal to do all that stuff. To me, it is, but like you said, I think a lot of other people are like, how do you drive race cars? I mean, it's easy. You just get in there. I mean, it's not scary, but they're like, or how do you, is stand up or, stand up in front of people. Like, just go out there. What's the worst that's going to happen? But I do love the adrenaline. It's true. And if I don't have it, I feel like it's boring.
And usually it's great for the first 5 minutes of it, and after that, it's just an amazing experience. Anything that is scary to do.
Hmm. And people really do like adrenaline. It's just because that's why they ride the roller coasters, but they want to know that they're going to be okay afterwards, so it's that whole thing, and they love it. So that's why they go scary movies or any of that stuff. They like it. Everyone likes adrenaline, I think, but that unknown at the end of it, am I going to die? Possibly. And you still go do it. It's a different experience. I don't really know how to explain it, but it is a different adrenaline rush, kind of. And it's a different, there's things I've learned from that. Just like driving race cars, you set everything up, you roll out there, you have no idea what's going to happen. And you can die. You
Yeah,
can die.
absolutely.
And, but you go out there, and once the green flag drops, everything you have is already out there. So all you have to do is just let the race unfold. It's all you can do. And you let the race unfold, and the chips just kind of go where they're going to go. I mean, you can't drive the car any faster than it's, set up to go. That's all you got. So, you can mix, you're not really even making decisions. So I learned when I'm really racing and I'm really doing good, I feel like I'm the passenger. I'm just riding around. And a lot of times I'm like, wow, I don't even know what I don't even know what just happened there, but that seemed cool. And all of a sudden I'll, do these moves, and I'll come in and people are like, whoa, how'd you do that? I didn't do it. I was just riding on the car, And the same way with martial arts and fighting stuff, it happens so fast you can't think. You can't think about it. And if you think about it, it's more like you're just kind of wasting time. But once things start going, you just really have to let go and just, react. And I think that's really bit of something that I've learned that's probably been bigger than anything. Even fabricating, like I'll have these, building these cars, these weird patterns, and I'll be trying to come up with the bends and all this stuff, cut it. And if I'm thinking about it, I can mess it up really bad. But if I just stop thinking about it, just let my hands start doing it, somehow it comes together. And I'll come back later and I'll be like, how did I even make that piece? There's so many complicated bends and angles in there. I don't even know how I'm going to duplicate it, the next time. But I have learned that most of the time when things are happening, and it's same in production, same in acting. That's why I say I don't think you can direct at the same time the scene, but it's just like you let go and it just happens, and that's where you kind of have to be for me to really succeed, and also to kind of get that satisfying adrenaline.
It's adrenaline is such an odd and unique feeling. I remembered, I think it was 1.5 years ago, I was riding a motorcycle. I was going 80 kilometers per hour. I crashed.
Ugh.
And it's all rocky and sand. I didn't have any helmet on. I was wearing shorts. All I had was glasses, and that actually prevented me from being blind. And when you're crashing, I was on my side and the motorcycle is still going. I'm still on the motorcycle. I wasn't able to let go of it, and I'm getting dragged 70 kilometer per hour speed. And it's just, you can't do anything. Even if you try, you want to do anything, you don't feel the pain, which is something crazy. You don't feel anything. Just you're watching from a window in your eyes, and yet you're not in control.
That's it. That you have to crash motorcycle to kind of see that, unfortunately. But that's exactly it. You're not in control, but you can see it happening, and it's going. You're just like, oh, I'm actually being driven by a motorcycle right now.
Yeah, it's odd.
And you know, you hit something, and same way with crashing a race car, same, you're just along for the ride, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna hit this wall now. You know, and it's just, you don't know, but it is like you're seeing it through kind of a window. And
Yeah.
and I think from all the martial arts, the race car driving, and all these, you know, in acting, that's kind of where I guess perform from, that window.
Oh,
I just try to get everything right there, even when I'm shooting. Um, I I'm in that window, and like I said, things go, and I'm watching it, and I'm not thinking about it. There's nothing you can do, anyways. You know, really. And but that's really where I like to be when I create.
yeah. It's a feeling that you don't want to let go, and you can't forget about it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's what I said. You had to crash a motorcycle to, to really understand it. But once you understand that, and you've seen it, and you're like, oh, okay, I had, you know, that's a different, I don't know, it's a different state of mind, kind of. Um,
Mm.
it, you it's easier to put yourself kind of back to it. And if you're like me, where you've been in that over and over and over and over many times, then you get comfortable there, I think. So, and like
So it's gonna be easier to go in there, but the feeling of how great it is it still the same?
as great as far as the, like, as watching this stuff go on, like as far as like if I'm shooting, like watching, you mean, or
No, the feeling of it. You know, once you're in kind of that zone, does it ever feel less amazing than it was before?
no? It feels the same all the time to me. It's, oh, and that's why there's no judgment. People are like, what's your favorite thing? And if I'm in that zone, it's all my favorite things. You know, if I create from there, I like it. That's, you know, that's, I achieved what I wanted because I was in that state of mind. I was able to, you know, let things kind of happen the way that they needed to be. I don't,
Do you think that's one of the reasons you like what you do so much?
yes, absolutely. I think that's probably why I'm also where I'm, you know, it's the reason why I do what I do and don't have like an office desk job. Um, because I really find it hard in those environments to kind of, to do, you know, to be in that state of mind. But I really think it really has helped me create and just come up with, you know, different things. And like I said, even when I was driving race cars, if I'm in that state of mind, and I'm like, I'm just a passenger, those are my best races. You know, like I said, I don't know how I'm doing that stuff. And it's not scary to me at that time, but I'm just like, I don't know. You know, I just passed that guy, and I didn't even try. You know, so, but yes, I have 100% belief that that's why I am where I am, do what I do.
Do you think it's the same feeling some of those fighters have, the people that join the UFC and they're on a fight and they basically wake up, be conscious when they're already in the locker room and their wife say, "You actually won." Didn't know about that. I didn't even know I did this move.
Exactly. Yep. Because you're not in the same state of mind. You know, you walk out there, and you have all these strategies. You know, you're like, okay, this guy's this, and I know how he does this. And then all of a sudden, I think Mike Tyson said something. Everybody's got a plan until they get punched. But it's the same thing. Once things start going, you're not thinking about it. It's happening, and you're letting it happen. And things are going. You're just in that. You're just seeing it. You know, and you're just you're a part of it, but not, you're not the doer.
Actually, the one in control.
Yes, exactly. You're not in control. And it's the same thing like fighting martial arts. You train, you do all this stuff. So when you get out there, you got what you got, you know. And this stuff comes out of you like that. Like when somebody throws a punch. I remember one tournament I did, and I actually won a tournament. But guy, there was a really tall guy, and he threw this punch or something, And I just did some move where I just went down, into this, really tight unicorn stance, and I just like hit him right in the gut. I had no idea how I did
Oh,
that, and it was awesome. And he was just like completely had no clue, and I had no clue, and but it happened, and I couldn't have thought that out.
what what martial art is it?
I studied kung fu for about 10
Ooh,
years, so I studied a few different styles of kung fu: the eagle claw, mahjong lahorn, and tiger crane hung guard. So yeah, a lot of kung fu, and I also studied a lot. And I will say, probably this has a lot to do with my point, but a lot of meditation, a lot of the qigong and the softer, or they say soft martial arts, but it's really more mind, and just kind of learning how your mind and your body kind of work together. That's a lot of kung fu, so it's more than just like kickboxing, but there's so much martial arts to it. And just the training. So I think it had a lot to do me just learning how to sit down and kind of meditate and clear out some of that stuff in my head, even out when I was a teenager. So
yeah, and kickboxing and most of those martial arts are basically just punch, punch, go, go, go. It's always
mhm,
on. Kung
yes,
Fu, they say it's more of a, sometimes there's a time to fight and there's a time to train your mind.
yes, yeah, and they both go together. You can't in kung fu you can't have one without the other. You can, but they say the essence is not there. And if the essence isn't there, then it's not true. You know,
Kung Fu.
kung fu, yeah, which the term kung fu means effort over time.
Ooh.
So you train this stuff effort over time. So really, I use kung fu for TV or production, acting. It's effort over time. What I do over time produces that. It's not me in that moment producing it. And
That's amazing. And on that point, no, it's different thing when you're punching a bag. You're so fast at punching it, and when you have all these moves, you have all these techniques, you have all these sets, and when you're actually sparring with somebody, you can't use most of those things. You're unable to do so, even if you try to do it. You're so slow when you're trying to fight somebody. You
mm,
have this move that you want. I'm gonna do this combo. You can't, even if they just stand there. You won't be able to do so. It's just different.
yeah, exactly. And that's seen a lot of people train, to train all this stuff, and then the same way they got there and fight, and it's the same kind of. It's really takes a lot of training, a lot of skill to really kind of get over this, I don't know, this plateau of this kind of average fighting style that people have. Um, but that's exactly right, because you train the same things, and it's just when you get out there, you can't think about it, and you have to adapt. You have to adapt your style to the other person. Um, so however they're moving or whatever they're doing, you want to be part of that, not
Doing
apart
your own
from
thing.
it. Yeah, exactly, because they're just as much a part of the fight as you are, and so you have to really be able to like kind of just pick up on what that is. And I really believe, like, somebody walks into a room and they're mad, it. Um, I feel like people kind of broadcast their intentions and their stuff out ahead of them,
Yeah.
and you can kind of, if you kind of know how to kind of tune that in, you can figure it out real quick. What they're doing, who they are, and what's going to happen.
Yeah, we have that gut feeling, as they call
Exactly,
it.
the gut feeling. And a lot of people are like, oh, I don't think I'm going to think, but I use that gut feeling. Whatever that gut feel, I let that go. I let that guide me more than my brain or whatever's going on up here.
And it's very interesting because I try to be a better person every day because people actually feel or at least know beforehand what kind of person you are before you even talk to them.
So, it's 100% true.
It's something you can't filter.
Mm-mm. Yeah, that's the thing. You can't filter that. You can act it, and there's a lot of bad
Yeah.
actors out there, but you can't. Um, you, it's there. You broadcast it out there. Your intentions are there. and people know. They tell me that all the time when they talk to me. They enjoy talking to me, and they know that I'm not out selling them something or trying to get something from them. And I don't have to say anything, but they know it. And I know other people too. I can meet people like that, and I'm like, yes, we have a great relationship. Good, and I can meet somebody like that, and I can just say, no,
And yeah,
it's not gonna happen ever. So
yeah, you're actually really fun to talk with. I have a lot of list of questions. I wasn't even able to go through most of them because I just want to go with the flow because you're
yeah.
an amazing speaker,
Oh, thank you. I didn't even know it was a speaker, but I appreciate it.
or at least someone who's fun to talk with.
Yeah. Thanks. I do like conversation.
By
So
the way, I saw that you had a show called Cooking Today and aired over 225 episodes, if I'm
hmm
not mistaken. What's
yes.
the experience with that?
So cooking today, we did that. I think started that 11 years ago. It was a cooking show, and the guy called me up. He says, "Would you like to produce this show?" He said, "I'm like, what kind of show?" He's like, "It's a cooking show." Never done a cooking show. Sure. So I went in there. I'm like, you know, what's the show about? And he's like, it's just a cooking show. And like, so I pretty much had to come up with a concept of the show, try to build out this studio in a week,
Oh,
and start shooting episodes. So that's another time when I learned I have to do a lot with little. And but I said I'm gonna do the show, see what it turns into. So we did it. And it was a great experience. And I actually met one of my business partners, Stephen Brooks, who we are still doing. We just did our third series. We started in April. So, a decade later, we're still making shows together, cooking shows.
that's amazing.
So, but that experience really kind of showed me how much people like what we did together. We won some awards on that show, but people in the streets, like they would come up to our host all the time and just say, "Oh, I love the show." And see, and we can walk down the streets, people they know who he is around here, and it's
Awesome.
just a local show. And all of a sudden, we got some big major, Sam's Club, Tyson back then, Choctaw Casino. We had some big major people coming in and wanting to be on the show. We had First Lady of Arkansas on the show. We just had the second season. We really started kind of, getting our groove and knowing what we wanted and what we liked, and you can just tell the shows they were just fun. So it was a great experience, great learning.
What's very interesting in that is if I'm just talking with you, I'm not gonna assume that you host a cooking show or produce a cooking show because it's more slow paced, more relaxed than your character. You're more adrenaline.
hmm Yeah, I didn't think it was a cooking. I don't even watch cooking shows, so I didn't have no clue either. But somehow it's one of those things. Now I have
Works
shot,
out.
yeah, and I have shot so much food shots and food. It's
Oh,
crazy. And people like it, and they still call us. If they have food, it's just I never thought I'd be a food cinematographer or director, but like I said, it leads into things that I wasn't thinking about. It's all through that little window, kind of. It happens, and it just I could have easily said I couldn't show now. How much does it pay me? No, but 10 years later, I look at it, I'm like, that's great. You know, those relationships I've made, those things I learned, there's, is, money, there's no money that could have bought that. So, but
that's
yeah,
amazing.
I would,
And what advice would you give to someone, looking to go into the film and TV industry, especially those coming from a very different field like you did?
um, I was actually just talking, to a guy last week about this. He was asking me the same questions. And my thing is just you got to understand that this is still art. Yes, there's companies that will use your art, to market, and that's fine. But you still have to understand that it's art. Don't try to take it so seriously. You know, like I can't remember what you said. Don't take yourself so damn seriously because you damn yourself. But you just, think about what you're shooting and what you're creating and why. That's the thing. Why am I doing this? And then the rest of it, like I said, it's really, you got to think about your colors, what you're drawing that eye to, and how all this is going to work in context. It has to all be together. There's not just a one part that's important, or this part's important, or the finance is important. It all has to kind of come together. And the biggest thing like I was telling him, is just get out there and shoot and find somebody that's willing to kind of help you and teach you these same things. And if you can, but just go out there and start shooting and find out what kind of art you like to make. Don't go into, shoot a lot of stuff and see what works or what people ask you, like if you're shooting cars, and you shoot a couple times and you go on and do something else and people go like, hey, could you come shoot these cars for me? Or could you, we got this event. We really would like you to come out. Then you're like, oh, okay, maybe people like what I'm doing or whatever it could be, food, comedy, just whatever it is. Like when people start asking for you to do it again, that's how I know, like, okay, I did something somebody likes. And so I would just say, just don't think about what you think you want to do. Just do it all and see what you like, what fits you, and what people want you to make. If that makes sense. Like people, like I said, I don't look for work, but people always are like, oh, they have a project. They're like, oh, I'd like to have you guys work on this project. And there's a reason for that because they've seen our work or something like that. But that's my biggest thing. Somebody get into it. Just get into it. Just get in there. Don't think about how I'm going to make money, because that's the number one probably block into this industry.
Yeah.
Is everybody's like, how am I going to make a living at this? And if that's what you're going in it to do, is to make a living and trying to make money, you're going to miss the actual fundamental parts that you need to be successful in it. So that's why I always say, like, money's money, whatever. It is important. They've got to pay our house, rent and all that stuff. But it's not the only reason to do something. If it's a bad fit, I don't want to do it. If I feel like even if acting, if it's a role and they're like, oh, and I just don't feel it, the fit or something, I'm not going to do it, And same with kind of shooting. I don't like to shoot weddings. I'm not saying I wouldn't, but I don't know. I don't really like events that much. I shoot some events, but it's not something, I look for. So, but I only know this because I've shot, all the stuff. So, but that's my biggest thing, is just, you have to get out there. You have to get the stuff in your hands, and you have to learn, and you have to start to make some work for yourself. It's just like somebody says, how do you become a painter? Well, you start painting.
Start painting,
Start painting. You're not going to be a painter until you start painting. You're going to mess up a lot of canvases. Whatever else it's going to be, you got to just get in there and do it. Start from wherever you're at, and don't worry about what's going on at the moment, because that stuff changes.
And yeah, it's amazing. And essentially, don't focus on the money. Is that correct?
Yes, because there's no money in it. What business do you kind of get into anywhere that you get money kind of going? Money's coming at you right away.
it takes time, and
Mm-hmm.
go on something that you enjoy. Don't just go to this industry. I didn't make money off it. I go to this new one. I'm starting this podcast. I'm doing this podcast not for the money. I don't care if I don't make a penny out of it. I actually don't care. I just
Mm-hmm.
want to talk with amazing people like you.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you got this body of work, and all these amazing interviews that people are like, oh, kind of going into. But that's exactly right. It's the same if you want to get into this industry, racing, or any industry. I think it's just to kind of get into it because that's what you're going to do. You, you
That's
know,
amazing. And looking ahead, what are your, long-term goals? Are you looking to shoot more internationally?
yeah, I could see that. I really want to get this series going. Um, Definitely, our shows are going to be more nationwide. We're working on that now. But this international stuff, I would love to do. Make some. My goals are I want to make some good content. There's a lot of just horrible content out there. And I'm not saying it's made bad. It's just the basis of it. I really want to make some fun, entertaining content that people can watch. And let's say they have a bad day at work or whatever it is. I just want them to at least get those few minutes and just see like, oh, you know, what I just experienced isn't the real thing of every. There's other things, there's ways to relax, there's ways to laugh, there's ways to do this stuff. And I really, if I could share these communities out, these people out in the world, and just share these stories, that's what I see us kind of doing going forward more and more.
Are you planning on going to film in specific countries that you like, or at least your goal is to go to these specific countries?
Right now we're going to this first one we're going to Italy.
Oh, it's nice.
We're gonna go to Tuscany. And I like one of a guy I met, one of my great friends. Just met him like that, and he does production, and it's just one of those things, like, you know, and we just kind of started talking about it, and he's like, yeah, we could, we go to this vineyard at this medieval festival, and just all these amazing things that nobody gets to experience. We can kind of show them and show them in a fun way, like how the community actually gets together and how they enjoy it. That's what I want to kind of portray, like different things of the world, so people kind of break up that mindset, because I feel like here, especially in the West, like we're so habitual, that we just kind of keep going. We go to work. I take my kids to school. I can see the same kids going to school at the same time. They same, go to down the highway. They come back at the same time. So this, as you do that over and over and over and over, you really don't, your mind, I think, kind of closes in. So
Absolutely.
I think if I could just give one little spark where somebody just says, you know, breaks up that monotony, breaks up that thought pattern in a good way that makes them feel better, not worse. So, if I could do that, that's really what I'm looking for. If I got to go shoot Italy, Portugal, wherever, to find that, to do that, it's more important about what I'm looking for there, what I can find.
Is it also gonna be about food?
This one's about food, yes. Yeah. It's not just about food, but we're kind of showing more about the food and how, like in different places, different cultures, food is the entertainment. People, they have their families, this is what they look forward to. They don't look forward to coming home and, watch the movie on TV, or they might every once in a while, but, looking at their phone all night long. They like to get out and they like to get together, tell stories. A lot of the stuff that I think we've just forgotten about in certain places. And so this is going to be about food, but it's also the food's there in the center, but it's more about how these different cultures and communities live, how what they like, what they enjoy, their lifestyle. and bringing that over here. Or
So
another.
you're trying to show how what living there is like, the local community, and you're trying to show it in an entertaining way to the people watching back at home.
Yes. And so they, because a lot of times you'll watch this kind of stuff and you'll be like, we used to do that growing up. And never, completely forgot about that. But like I said, that little spark might, come back to them. That's something that they did enjoy, that they have actually experienced, that they just, it's just so very deep down in. But I just, there's so many different ways to live, so many different ideas, so many different, what's important to one person isn't important to another person. And just,
Absolutely.
showing that kind of variety and that kind of, you know, difference in cultures is just what I want to show more than the food. The food is more just the entertainment part and what brings people together.
That's amazing. And how can our viewers get in touch with you and learn more about your services that you offer in Bod High Productions?
Well, we are on social media. Bod High Production. We have a website. You could always email us. That's probably the best way. Just send us an email or message us through Facebook or something like that. I'm always happy to answer any questions or help anyone too. If anyone, would just like to discuss something or, but yeah, that's definitely probably the easiest way. And Michelle
That's
too.
amazing. And do you have any news that you want to share to people, maybe upcoming projects besides the one in Italy, and any final notes?
Well, we have another cooking show that we have on. It's local, and it's kind of the same thing, but we are kind of expanding that. It's local, but we're expanding it nationwide. We've got some good sponsors on it, so might look for that. Hopefully, we're gonna have it in the market near you. Other than that, we're just going day by day and just seeing what it brings. Just trying to enjoy it all, basically.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Jeremy, for sharing your invaluable insights and experiences with us today. It's been really, really fun talking with you,
Yeah.
and your expertise in video production and the way you talk about your passion is really amazing. And hey, everyone, to our viewers, if you're looking to elevate your video marketing efforts with somebody who actually is fun to work with and what he makes is actually fun, don't hesitate to reach out to Jeremy and his team at Bod High Productions. Their innovative approaches and dedication to quality and can help your business achieve remarkable results. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in our next session. And we're looking forward, Jeremy, to watching more of your stuff.
Awesome. Well, thank you too. Thank you for having me on. I enjoy our discussion.
That's all for today's episode of the New World Podcast. We have explored some fascinating topics with our amazing guests, shedding light on the upcoming New World. If you enjoyed today's episode and today's discussion and want to stay updated the future episodes, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to the podcast. And if you found value on what we have discussed, please consider leaving us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Remember, if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, or if you are interested in being a guest in the future, please feel free to reach out to me via LinkedIn or email me at john.paul@aicinix.com and add New World Podcast, all capital, in the subject line so I can see it. I always love hearing from our listeners. And don't forget to check out our amazing guests. You can find more information about them by the contact details we provided earlier. Again, thank you for tuning in on the New World Podcast. I know your time is very important, and I try to always make the next episode better than the last. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, keep innovating. This is John Paul Flores signing off from the New World Podcast.